Hello friend, welcome back to my channel. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. It's Tim here, and in this video I'll be guiding you through episode 3, which is the final part for Mountain Hideaway. If you're just joining in and would like to paint along, part 1 and 2 are up on my channel. Part 1 includes the brushes, the palette, and the outline, and everything else you'll need to create your painting with. This is a very beginner-friendly painting too, so I invite you to paint along. Or if you'd like to just sit back and watch, I invite you along on this painting adventure. Part 3 covers the cabin, some finishing details, and the stars, which of course were my favorite part to paint. Please feel free to take any breaks that you might need along the way, and when you're ready, let's begin. In this upcoming section, we'll be using one of my favorite painting and blending techniques, which I call the sad face highlight, which is just kind of a sideways sad face or slightly cross-hatching paint stroke that's slightly downturned on the ends, creating an arc-like shape like this. Let's go ahead and add a new layer, and we're going to paint some grass. Let's go ahead and switch over to the paintbrush now with the damp brush. Let's do like 4% brush size. Let's do like 45% or so opacity. Let's grab the 5th color in the 3rd row. And using the sad face highlight, we're going to lightly work our way from left to right. And I'm going to work from top down to the bottom and then move over to create some grassy areas along this bank here. And I'm kind of just letting the brush lightly fade off because I don't want anything too harsh. And working our way over into the corner. I'm going to work some of this grass back up into the bush area. Just like that. Now let's go ahead and switch over to the blending tool with the damp brush. Let's do 13% brush size, 29% or so opacity, something really light. And then we're going to go back over that grass and just lightly blend it out, just kind of softening that up. When you're happy with the grass, that brings us to painting the cabin. So now we're going to turn our trace outline layer back on. Let's turn the white one back on. And let's switch over to the paintbrush now with the water pen. Let's do 10-11% brush size with full opacity. Let's go ahead and grab the 6th color in the 4th row. And I'm actually going to paint on the top of this. That way we can see it easier. So let's go ahead and add a new layer. And we're just going to trace over the outline of our building here. And I am holding it down at the end of each one of these to straighten out the line here just a little bit. Just following every edge. Down. We're going to follow this edge here. Once you get that outlined, I'm actually going to connect the 2 bottom lines here, just like that. Then I'm going to connect that over to the left-hand side edge. And then let's outline our door. Just like that. Now let's use hue and saturation, and we're going to turn this down just by 1, so we're going to turn it down to 49%. We're going to go ahead and create a duplicate of this layer, and we're actually going to work on the one underneath. So let's go ahead and on the bottom of the 2 layers, let's go ahead and use the 6th color in the 4th row. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in this main color here. Now let's use the 1st color in the 5th row. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in both sides of the roof. And then on this left-hand side edge here, and then the door, just like that. Now on this top layer that we created the duplicate on, I'm going to go ahead and use hue and saturation. And up that layer to 51%. Now let's use the opacity tool, turn that down just a little bit, just to create just a slight edge. We don't want to create anything too blocky. So I turn the opacity down to 59% just to keep a little bit of definition in the cabin there. We're going to go ahead and add a layer in the middle of these two layers, a new blank layer. And then let's switch over to using the paintbrush now with the burnt tree brush. Let's do like 3% brush size with full opacity. Now on this new layer, we're actually going to go ahead and put it into overlay. And we're going to grab the second color in the first row, the color white. And now starting on this left-hand side, we're going to paint thin vertical strokes along this edge here, creating what looks like wooden beams along our cabin, leaving just a tiny bit of space in between each new paint stroke. And then they're going to progressively work taller and then back to being smaller on this right-hand side. And then ending right there. And now we're going to increase our brush size a little bit. Let's go to 4%, still full opacity. With a really light hand painting in singular diagonal paint strokes, we're going to add just a little bit of color texture to the roof. And then along this right-hand edge. Now let's go ahead and turn this layer's opacity way down. Let's turn it down to like 33% or so, which creates a lot of nice dimension for our cabin. So let's go ahead and create a layer over the top. Let's turn our trace outline layer back on, and actually let's move the white trace outline layer back to the top there. And on this new layer underneath of the trace outline, let's go ahead and switch over to the water pen again with the paintbrush. Let's do like 8% brush size, full opacity. Let's grab the sixth color in the third row. And we're going to fill in the base of this bush area here. Just like that. Let's go ahead and grab the first color in the fourth row, and we're going to create a middle color on the top of that here. And then let's go ahead and grab the third color in the third row and paint a thin line of highlight color on the top edge here using the circular scrubbing paint strokes. Let's go ahead and turn our trace outline layer off for a moment. Switching over to the blending tool now with the damp brush, 40% or so opacity, and then using circular scrubbing paint strokes. Let's go ahead and lightly blend and buff that out, working our way down in rows. Keep a nice blend. Then finishing off with that, and then this one here. And I'm gonna just lightly kind of puff out the edges here. That way they just nicely blend in with the grass. Finishing up the bottom edge there. Now let's go ahead and create a duplicate of this bush layer. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Let's turn it down to 66% and then merge the two together. And then using back and forth paint strokes, we're going to just lightly buff that edge in and then just add just a little bit more blending right there. Creates a nice little bush on the edge. When you're happy with your blending, let's add some shadows and light. So let's go ahead and add another new layer. Let's switch over to the paintbrush now with the water pen. Let's do like 4% brush size, full opacity. Let's grab the fifth color in the second row. And starting back here next to the cabin, we're gonna just lightly scribble in very, very lightly a nice little water line there to the edge. Then I'm going to fill in a water line right here, just using a slight scribble-like motion. So let's go ahead and add another new layer and put that layer into soft light. Let's use the paintbrush with the soft brush, like 8% brush size with full opacity. Let's grab the first color in the first row, color black. And then we're going to create a thin line on the left side edge here, just like that. Now along the bottom. And then along the right-hand edge, working our way from top to bottom. And we're going to round off this corner here. And round off the bottom hand left corner there too. Let's use Gaussian blur. Let's blur this layer to like 29%. We're going to turn this layer way down. Let's turn it down to like 33%. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. Still using the same color. Let's shrink our brush size to like 5%. And we're going to repeat that same step, creating a nice thin line from the top edge to the bottom on the left side. And then along the bottom. And if you need to hold it down to straighten it out, feel free to. And then along the right-hand side from top to bottom. Let's go ahead and curve the right-hand corner and the left-hand corner. And let's use Gaussian blur and blur that layer to around 24%. We're going to turn that way down. Let's turn it down to like 15%. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add another new layer. We're going to put that layer into overlay. Let's go ahead and grab the paintbrush with the soft brush. Let's do like 11% brush size with full opacity. Let's grab the second color in the first row, the color white. And starting right around here, right where the edge of the sunset is, we're going to paint a half circle, crossing over the mountain and touching the middle of that tree here. And we're going to go over and cross over the edge of the cabin, and then we're going to just go ahead and fill that little circle in. Now using Gaussian blur, we're going to blur this layer out. Let's blur it to like 71%, and then we're going to turn the opacity way down. So let's go ahead and let's turn it down to around 39%. That helps brighten it up quite a bit, so you can see the difference here. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and create a copy canvas layer. So we'll go into canvas. So we'll go into add and hit copy canvas and then paste. Let's go ahead and use hue and saturation, and we're going to turn the saturation all the way down into black and white. And zooming up here, let's go ahead and add another new layer. Let's put that layer into overlay. And let's grab the paintbrush with the damp brush. Let's do like 3% brush size, 50% or so opacity. And using our sad face highlight with a really light hand, working our way from top to bottom, we're going to lightly just add a little bit of highlight detail to the grass. And we'll work it in over here. And then work it across this edge right there, working to the water, and then off to the edge. And I'm going to add just a little bit of bush detail right here in the front. So let's up our brush size here to like 5%. And then we're going to use our circular scrubbing paint strokes, starting right around the edge of the post. Almost said fence post, but I meant the house post. And then just create a little bit of bush detail right in the front there, just like that. Let's add a little bit to this one too, kind of bring that out a little bit. Add a little bit on the top here. Let's add a little bit of detail on the grass right there, just kind of bringing it out of the shadows. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn the black and white layer off. Wow, you can see what a difference that made. Super easy to add detailing like this, and with just one layer and highlighting, we don't even have to carry all of these new colors in here. So let's go ahead and turn this layer down a little bit. Let's turn it down to like 86%. I'm going to create another copy canvas layer and paste it on the top. And now let's paint the grass. I wanted to take a moment to thank you so much, friend, for supporting my channel and this video. If you're enjoying the video so far, I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel out. And I wanted to ask, if you've watched all 3 videos so far, what has been your favorite part of this series? Let me know below. All right, so with this new layer, we're going to create a duplicate of this copy canvas layer. So there's 2 of them. And we're going to work on the top one here. And we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of grass texture. So let's grab the blending tool with the water pen. Let's do like 3% brush size with full opacity. Short up and down flicks, left and right and up to the center here. We're going to go ahead and create our grass. And we're going to be working our way across the bottom of the canvas in rows. So we're going to work up to that point and then work down. And we're going to work from left to right, from top to bottom. I just find it to be the easiest way to do grass. And we're dragging the darker colors up into the lighter colors and vice versa. Some really nice color blends for our painting. When you reach the bottom here, we're going to work our way over. Just like that, working our way over to the edge. And then working down and across. Just being real random about it. Something kind of satisfying about doing grass. What do you guys think below? I hope you guys are enjoying this tutorial. I've had a lot of fun with it. I hope you are too. Dragging just a little bit into that water line there. We're going to work our way over, and actually I'm going to add just a couple right there. And then work our way over. And then down and across. Just creating little clusters of grass here and there, being real random. Then finishing off here on this right side edge. Creating some scrubby brush right there and into the water. Perfect. We're going to go ahead and add just a little bit of grass texture here in the back. So let's go ahead and shrink our brush a little bit. Let's go to like 2%. And we're going to be real random about it, but we're not going to put quite as much detail here in the back. We just want to create the illusion of grass. So I'm just using really short, tiny little flicks just to grab some of the color and create the illusion of some grass texture. Especially right there around the water line. And we're going to work our way and repeat this on this side. Working our way across and then down. And repeating this going all the way over to the side. All right, once you get that done, we're actually going to turn this layer down just a little bit. Let's turn it down to like, let's go to like 87% or so, just to kind of soften it up. And let's paint a little bit of grass around the bottom edge here. So let's go ahead and add another new layer. Let's grab the paintbrush again. Let's use the water pen. Let's do like 3% brush size, full opacity. And let's grab the fifth color in the third row, that bright shade of green again. And very lightly, so often, I'm going to create some little grass strokes, just kind of flicking upwards and off to the side there, just on the edge. And now along the left side edge, just to kind of create some visual interest around the bottom edge here. Actually, let's put a little bit down there too. Kind of create some nice reeds around the water edge. Now let's go ahead and turn this layer down a little bit. Let's turn it down to like 46%. And I'm going to come back in here using the same color. We're going to add just a couple more. And because we turned it down, the same color now creates highlights over top of what we just did, which is a super easy way to create the illusion of some more details. We're going to add just a couple more down there, right there. And when you're happy with your grass, now it's time to paint the stars. And I think the last thing I want to do on this painting, let's paint some stars. So let's go ahead and add another new layer. Let's go to the paintbrush now with the light pen. Let's do around 10% brush size with full opacity. Okay, we're gonna grab let's grab the 5th color in the 2nd row. And with a very light hand, we're gonna paint some dots, just very sparingly across the sky. And depending on how hard or how light you press down, you'll get some really nice size variation for your stars. I love painting stars. They're so much fun. I just thought this painting needed just a little something. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn this layer down. Let's turn it down to like 24%. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. We're going to zoom up here. Let's up our brush size a little bit. Let's up it to like 16%. And we're going to add just a couple of brighter stars here and there. To really create some nice dimension for our sky. And the last thing left for us to do is to sign our painting. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I had a lot of fun painting this, and I hope that you did too. And I really wanted to say a huge thank you for all the kind comments and for supporting my channel over the last year. The support means a lot, and I'm really looking forward to a fun new year of paintings. I have another new tutorial coming soon, and in the meantime, if you'd like to continue painting, I do have other painting tutorials up on my channel to discover, so definitely go check those out. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel out. Please take care of yourself, friend, and until next time, happy painting.